Okay, so the time being 7 o'clock, I'll declare the meeting open. The town of Walkerville would like to acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional custodians of the land we are meeting on today and respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We recognise the many generations of stewardship the Kaurna people have provided to this land and respect that their cultural heritage and beliefs are as important today as they were for their ancestors. So, present moment will record when Councillor Lenke comes into the meeting. Staff in attendance as set out there. We have no apologies, but we have a number of leave of absences recorded. Deputy Mayor Allinson, Councillor Core, Councillor Vanstone and Councillor Trotter. Councillor Lenke into the room. I'd also like to put in,
sorry, is mine still, does that stay there, does it? Because I thought we agreed to that last.
It's an upcoming leave of absence.
I think it's
for Councillor
It just stays there, does it? Okay, that's
yeah,
why.
so we just keep all of the...
We do usually.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Just so I don't forget I'm going to go.
Sorry, did I say that you were on leave of absence?
I'm like,
I'm reading.
You can go home now.
oh, she's staying.
And so then I've also got a leave of absence that has only come up since the minutes, the agenda went out. So I'd like to request a leave of absence from the 15th of May to the 23rd of May. Please, thank you. Councillor Zeppel has moved that and Councillor Fripp seconded it. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. And so item 3 is the confirmation of the minutes. Item 3.1, the ordinary council meeting minutes of the 17th of February 25 be received as true and accurate. Thank you. Councillor Williams has moved that and seconded by Councillor Trotter. All those in favour? That's carried. Item 3.2, that the Highbury Landfill Authority Board meeting minutes of the 27th of February 25 be received and noted. It's moved by Councillor Whip and seconded by Councillor Zeppel. All those in favour? That is carried. And item 3.3, that the Highbury Landfill Authority Audit Committee meeting minutes of the 27th of February 25 be received and noted. That's moved by Councillor Zeppel and seconded by Councillor Lenke. All those in favour? That's carried. Item 4, declarations of interest. Does anyone have any declarations of interest this evening? No, there are no declarations of interest. Item 5, business adjourned, there's none. Item 6, deputations, there are none. Item 7, petitions, there are none. Item 8, the Mayor's diary, and I'm aware from Councillor Zeppel that there are some changes here.
Yes.
Talk us through those.
So I'd like to move that the Council receives the mayoral diary from 11th March to, as written on the 11th of March to 14th of April. Notes that on the 25th of March, Councillor Zeppel didn't attend the Harmony Week ceremony, and on the 30th of March, Councillor Zeppel was in attendance for the second service at St Andrew's Church.
So that is moved by you. And is there a seconder?
Second.
Whip. All those in favour? That is carried. Item 9, council member updates. Are there any updates from council? No. Item 10, questions from the gallery. There are none. Item 11, questions without notice. Any questions without notice? No. There are no questions with notice. Item 13, motions without notice. Are there any motions without notice? There are none. Item 14, motions with notice. There are none. Item 15, decision reports. Item 15.1, the council resolution register. Andrew, anything to add to this report?
I'll take it as read and take any questions the members may have.
Are there any questions? Okay, is there a mover? Councillor Trotter, thank you. Seconded Councillor Whip, I think it was. All those in favour? That is carried. Item 15.2 is the policies review for a number of policies here. Andrew or Mohammed, anything to add?
Nothing from the driveway.
Nothing to me. No. Mohammed, no.
Any questions on the report or the policies? Councillor Lenke.
I did have one with the asset
camper assets policy. Sorry, I just can't find out, but in the policy it's you do a condition order, you make asset classes every 5 years. I'm always of the opinion it should be every 4 years in line with your AMP redevelopment. I just think the structure's up that if I know got relative data, but if you miss that one, then when's the next time you report on that commission data, you don't see the improvements in your commission.
Yeah, through the chair, we can change it to 4. The reason why it's stated as 5 because that's just the guidance from accounting standards, that at least once every 5 years you should do a full physical condition assessment. We do pretty much a review of indices every year, and if there's a material change, we apply those. So any depreciation or any impact can be captured.
That's desktop, but
yes.
If you're looking at your actual condition of your assets, having a visual inspection or the YMG running around, then you can actually compare the overall condition. Everybody can actually benchmark from the previous, and you can see the deterioration of your asset. You get a better feel for, and that sort of then works into establishing and reviewing your asset lives on proper data, not just your assumed depreciation.
Absolutely, through the chair, we can certainly change it to 4 years if that's the wish of the council. There's nothing stopping us because accounting standard is only providing you guidance for once every 5 years. So we can do that, that's no problem.
Okay. So I might look at that in a sec. I also report your useful life statement. You just like you've just placed like buildings 15 to 100 years, infrastructure 15 to 200 years. I think if you actually do it, maybe I just think it could be a statement that leads you back to the AMP, like as useful, because every AMP's got components, and then you've got, if you don't want to list in your policy, you just end up with 50 components listed, but road is still, you're obviously about 200 years to your base. I'm just wondering whether you should just make a statement that useful life is identified in the AMPs, and then because every 4 years you're rewriting those AMPs and you get to classify those lives, if you will. I just think to say that lives will be 15 to 20 years, I just think that's a bit, I don't know what that means to the reader.
Through the chair, so useful life is just taken from the IFIA standards, standards that they have provided. But certainly as part of your AMP review, you certainly look at the consumption of your asset. You look where are they in their age, and then you adjust it accordingly. This is more so what is the useful life you assign for the purpose of depreciation, and that's guarded by the IFIA standards. And
then that would you be using the useful lives that's stated in your AMP, would that not be guiding more depreciation?
Through the chair, yes, you will have your useful life adjusted in your AMP, that will talk about it, the useful life. But the policy is quite broad, and even in the AMP it is guided by the IFIA standards.
So the only problem with that is that the IFIA standards are nationally based, whereas every council's got their own soil conditions, and you know your own assets better than Canberra does. So that's why I think your AMP would direct what how useful life should be, because over a long period of time, your data will be telling you that your road still is 25 years, not 30 years or whatever it might be. So look, just something that you can look at, but that was kind of here or there, that useful life view. But yeah, it was more about the the 4 years is might be one. So I think that's where you, again, kind of working back in useful life, but that's where you're actually reviewing your data and analysing and making sure that they are what you're setting your depreciation rates for.
So, through the chair, if I may, we can certainly add, provide guidance from the IFIA standard, and also considering the full physical condition which is done at the time of developing AMP, we can put something there which covers both angles. One, the IFIA standards, and also the actual physical condition of the roads offer any assets for that matter.
All right. There was one more, sorry. I don't remember where it was. Sorry, I've got some pretty average notes here, but what do you do with an asset that's past its life? Yeah, so I think in AMP you've got useful lives of assets, depreciation has to be reviewed regularly. That's not it. So I can't find it. Say you've got 100 years on a stormwater pipe, because that's the useful life that's been set by so many nuclear standards, whatever it might be, but yeah, your record shows it was laid in 1925, you're coming up to 2025, but done a condition assessment on it, still looks pretty good. You're not going to pull that out, so what do you do with that pipe? Do you add life to the pipe?
Through the chair, that's my understanding,
Yeah.
that if there is useful life left and you have done your physical condition assessment, and it tells like, that your asset is still in good condition and there's still further life, so you will adjust its useful life.
So is that identified in the policy at all? About how you would treat that situation? That you make an allowance for that situation?
So, through the chair again, I suppose when we provide, again for the useful life, when we write in the sentence guided by the IPVIA standards and also the physical condition assessment,
Okay.
that will cover that point.
Sure, yeah. All right, so, but if I could make an amendment to, just to add that, because I think the condition rating should be every 4 years. That way you can budget for that as well. I just think it's got more relevance than the data you're capturing should be usable. So,
I'll just see if anyone else has any questions.
Yeah, sure.
First, and then we can come back to you to move. Any other questions? Okay, go ahead.
I've got that. Maybe just to, I don't know how to word this, but maybe we can be guided by a bit of assistance from the CEO, but just that if I can just find which section does it refer to?
4.3.3.
4.3, yeah, just under 4.3 to review or to amend the condition, the frequency of condition assessments to 4 years.
Certainly through the chair, I wholly agree with you there that if you're doing an asset management plan, you need to have your assets revaluation before you do it.
Thank you.
To at least once every 4 years.
Yeah, at least once every 4 years, yeah. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. So that is moved by Councillor Lenke. Is there a seconder?
Are we moving the whole thing or are we in parts?
Oh, yeah, no, sorry, we can move the whole. So
Yes.
then the rest of it as well? Okay, so it's Councillor Trotter has seconded that.
So we're parting?
I think we're doing the whole thing.
Whole thing?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Cool.
But I've still been through the audit committee for reference as well, to give you some confidence.
So I'm just thinking, because some of your assets, like your building assets, you might be picking up more frequently just with random inspections. But I think that says at least once every 4 years, I think that's okay. That still allows you to collectively.
More correct line.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favour? That's carried. Okay, item 15.3 is the representation review discussion paper. Andrew, anything to add?
Other than, I think we're all aware, we went through, workshopped it, went through the options. It's, as the recommendation says, it's proposed that we keep the status quo, basically, and putting that back to council for your consideration.
Any questions from anyone?
No,
I'll move the recommendation.
Moved, thank you. Councillor Williams, seconded Councillor Ritt. All those in favour? That is carried. Item 15.4, the LGA Strategic Plan 25 to 29. Andrew, anything to add to this?
No, I think it's hopefully straightforward. If there's anything else that the members want to add, we certainly can.
I think everyone should have received a link anyway to fill out a survey, so you can still do that. Okay, is there any questions from anyone? Okay. Okay, is there a mover? Councillor Zeppel, thank you. Councillor Trotter, seconded it.
Just got the Melbourne Cup photo finish.
All those in favour? That's carried. Okay, item 15.5 is 24-25 third quarter budget review. Andrew or Mohammed, anything to add?
I've got nothing.
Nothing for that one.
Okay, any questions on the report?
Not even me today.
Thank you. Alright. Okay, is there a mover? Thank you, Councillor Trotter. Seconded, Councillor Zeppel. All those in favour? It's carried. Okay, item 15.6, dogs and cats online fees. Anything to add, Andrew?
Pretty straightforward. We've just applied a CPI increase. Our fees are the highest in the state now, the lowest. They're in the mid-range. And about putting them for council for adoption.
Any questions from anyone?
The only question I have would be is how do we benchmark ourselves against other councils for this service?
We did have a bit of a look through a couple of other councils' charge around, and we're about mid-range. So similar to Burnside, a bit lower than a couple, a bit higher than a couple.
Okay.
So there wasn't too much within it to make it material either way. And that was just looking through what other charges. Thanks to my handy assistant here who did the legwork.
No, I have nothing.
Okay, is there a mover? Councillor Trotter, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Ripp. All those in favour? That's carried. And item 15.7, the Audit and Risk Committee Activities Report. Mohammed, anything to add?
Nothing for that right now.
Thank you. Any questions from anyone? Okay, mover. Councillor Zeppel, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Ripp. All those in favour? Yes. Okay, thank you. Carried. Item 15.8 is the parking permit policy for consultation. Andrew?
I'll make a few comments. Obviously this follows on from the workshop we had the other night where we took on board the elected members' view that we should review the parking permits and parking around the city more broadly, which we'll undertake to do within the next 12 months. Hence why we've only got the policy to be reviewed within 12 months to see them side by side. I think, as we said the other night at the workshop, the view of this was to try and streamline it for our ratepayers to make it easier, that we'll automatically issue them. They don't have to go through the process of applying and then us assessing. So hoping that makes it a bit easier on our ratepayers or residents, and then we can address the more broader picture, which will take a bit of time to work through the various issues over the next 12 months.
Any questions?
Yes, if possible through you, Your Worship. I just noted that obviously Part 2 doesn't have anything other than that we're going to review the parking restrictions. I know on page 138 at the bottom it says the recommendation provides for this to occur and subject to council approval, registration, present council options and timeframes for how this will occur. Can I just get an understanding of when we're expecting that? Because unless I'm wrong, I just thought at the council workshop we were looking at reviewing the parking restrictions with the upcoming community survey. I think that was one thing we discussed. I just want some more parameters around when we're expecting this, because I don't want this to just sit on the shelf and then not happen quickly, because I think it really needs to happen in tangent with these restrictions going in, because I know that the parking restrictions in the township have been widely raised as concerns from residents in the campaign, and I'm conscious too we're 2 years into our term and we haven't done anything about, well, I'm sorry, but we haven't really done anything about it, and I want to see this progress and not take 6, 8, 12 months for us to review it. If we've got a clear plan, we can say to the community through the community survey or just something, we can go back to residents, because I know this is a hot issue.
Yeah. So we're saying that we'll review policy within 12 months, but might say us,
Yes.
when is that community survey coming for?
So through the chair, that's due to be next May.
So in 12 months.
because we're looking at doing it after the elections, so we didn't bombard residents with too much information. So that was the timeframe we're looking at for the community survey.
Was that this May?
May 26th.
May 26th. Jesus.
Through the chair, can I suggest that perhaps part 2 can be added, that conduct a review of current parking restrictions within the township, and at the next meeting a process and a timeframe be presented to council for its review. The reason that hasn't been done tonight is the distance between last week's meeting, getting the agenda out,
that's of course,
and with some staff being away, we haven't had a look at what's happened previously, how we got to the point we currently are, which then might help understand why they are, to then work out how we need to review them. So
what's written up. That's okay.
if you give me another month to come back with some of those key time frames, I'm sure we can.
And the reason I asked that question was, I'm kind of thanks for the update as well, Sarah, because I'm just conscious that if we start looking at this, get the feedback May 26, our term's over next year. I think it's too long. And if that's going to be the case, I don't think it's appropriate for it to be done in the survey. It'll have to be done as something extra. And I think that it would warrant being something extra, because I know the public are annoyed about it.
Yep. So through the chair, that was part of my thinking as well, that this is quite specific and it's going to take a fair bit of time to work through whether we do it suburb by suburb, or we do it all collectively, or how we actually break it apart and get the community feedback. So we're not inundated, but at the same time we get it done.
And the next one, if it's at the next meeting, I'm happy with that. I just think there needs some tighter parameters, so I'm happy with that. Appreciate your update.
Okay, Councillor Zephyr.
Got one question which relates to page 153, section 2.1.4. 3141, it talks about upon the request of a resident, etc. The policy seems to be silent on the other way around, e.g. if parking restrictions are applied in an area, what do the residents do if they think that's not needed? I didn't find anything in the policy. The policy seems to be silent on that matter.
Yeah, I took that as part of the more broader policy review, that if we think that if residents think it's not needed, we can trial removing policies, but I saw that as part of the more broader. This is just for the permit, the actual where people can park and whether restrictions should be there, or they're too short, too long, or just don't be there at all. That's the separate body of work.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so we've got that item 2 has been revised for something to come back for the next council
I'm happy to
meeting.
move 1 to 3.
Okay, so Councillor Rick has moved that. So seconder. Councillor Trotter, thank you. All those in favour? That's carried. Okay, moving on to item 16, information reports. And item 16.1 is the 24-25 annual community plan March quarter progress report. Andrew, anything to add?
No, I think as we continually refine this report, I'll take any questions on board.
Any questions? Nope.
Happy to move it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ripp, seconded. Councillor Zeppel, all those in favour? That's carried. Item 16.2, the monthly financial report, March 25. Mohammed, anything to add?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? To mover. Councillor Trotter. Seconded by Councillor Williams. No one, then everyone. All those in favour? That's carried. Okay, item 16.3, the monthly works report, March 25. I think Ross in James's absence, are you talking, if there's anything to add?
I'll take any questions that might come, and any of those I can answer, I'll take on notice.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you. Councillor Williams, thank you, has moved. Seconder. Councillor Trotter, thank you. All those in favour? That is carried. So item 17 now, confidential reports. We'll remove the gallery. Okay, so item 17.1 will commence by having a resolution to go into conference to discuss the nominations. Thank you, Councillor Trotter has moved that, seconded Councillor Rick. All those in favour? That's carried. So at 7:25 the meeting has moved into conference.